There are certain things that are meant to grow wealth, and there are certain things that are meant to preserve wealth, and most people are trying to preserve wealth before they even have wealth. So a 401k is going to get you 4% a year, which if you have like a few grand, like that's not going to do much for your life. Even if you keep doing that forever until you're 65, now you got 10 years to live, and maybe you have a couple $100,000, which will be gone in a few years again. So the irony is that most retirement plans don't even lead you to retirement. What gets you to retirement is taking big risks, and eventually one of them or two of them pay off. Okay, so that's how 401ks work. With index funds, yeah, you can get a 6 to 8% return a year after inflation, but once again, it's a wealth preservation tactic, not a wealth acceleration tactic.
Welcome back to the Broke Millionaires, where we document our daily struggles in building wealth while raising a young family. Join us as we talk creative wealth building for everyday people and couples that are struggling in a down economy. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Joshua Masari, and we'll be your host.
Welcome back to the Broke Millionaires.
Today we have Kam Dasani, who's doing big things in the trading space. We're going to learn a little bit. It's kind of a different mix up from what we usually talk about. This is something I have a little bit of background in, but excited to see what you're doing with this and see what we can learn. So let's get into it.
We're excited to have you, Kam. So you were making $250,000 in Silicon Valley. Why did you feel like that was a trap?
Yeah, so there were always three things that I thought about that I didn't have, and that was location freedom, time freedom, and day-to-day flexibility, which is different than time freedom. So time freedom is actually having the time to do the things I wanted to do. Day-to-day freedom is, can I work out when I want to? Can I get a haircut when I want to? Can I go to the bank when I want to? And just simple things that I realized corporate didn't give me. So that's why I felt it was a trap. I also felt like every time I had ascended up the ladder, there was, and this is not a victim mentality, but I always felt like there was something getting in the way of me getting to the next level of my career that really wasn't in my control.
Got it. That makes sense.
Just a quick disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Your individual circumstances may differ and require specific strategies not discussed here. Now, let's get back to the show.
So I have a little bit of background in trading. I've done the stock thing. I've done day trading. I've done swing trading and not done very I did okay. I was making so between jobs or between starting my company I have now, I had a 3-month period where I had nothing to do. And so I just sat on the screen all day. This was 2016. So I was trading Tesla, AMD, NVIDIA when they were just all over the place. So you could make a lot of money because everything was just moving all over the place. But then I'd not pay attention to the screen for a couple of days and I'd lose 10 grand. So I was okay. Or once I started working again, it was I had meetings and I would miss something that happened in the news and boom, just missed it. So that ended up not working out. And then I started doing credit spreads, which was a safer way to do it, but it was just boring. It was too slow and didn't really make a lot of money. So it was didn't really go the way I wanted it to go. What would you say you do? What is different than some of these other strategies?
The biggest mistake that people make when they're working in corporate and trying to find a side hustle or business venture to start is they're trying to be full-time entrepreneurs or business owners while they already have a full-time job that's taking up all of their time. That's why it's called full-time. What I found was a part-time trading strategy called swing trading options, because you don't have to monitor things every second of the day like a day trade. You can enter a trade on a Monday and sell 3 Mondays later. And in between, it's going to fluctuate a lot. But the way options works is you're able to put an expiration date on a trade. So you can say, hey, this prediction that I'm going to make in the stock market is going to end on this date. And in between, I can look at it, when I have free time, but I'm not bogged down by charts and technicals and things like that. So I realized I could do that part-time alongside my job. That's how I started making my first few grand a month in the stock market. And then once I bought my time back, eventually making, 6, 7, 8K a month, I'm like, okay, if I leave my job and I do this part-time strategy, but spend more time learning other full-time strategies around it, now I can be a full-time trader. But the problem is most people are trying to be full-time before they should.
So how long did it take you from when you kind of figured out the strategy to where you could actually walk away from the corporate life?
So in 2017 and 2018 was when I was working at a fintech company called Veeam in the Silicon Valley, which is basically an international payments company similar to PayPal, but more B2B. And Goldman Sachs was an investor in the company. So I met a lot of Goldman guys through that network, learned how to trade from them, was trading part-time for 2 years before I was like, okay, I'm actually going to move back home and give up my apartment in the city, which was super expensive because of San Francisco, and just live at home, save my money, and just reinvest in this craft. So after like 2.5 to 3 years total, so like after 2 years of part-time, moved home, another 6 to 12 months go by, and now I'm like really full-time.
That's awesome. Why don't 401ks, index funds, or even crypto actually help people leave their jobs?
This is when it comes down to investing in the wrong order. So there are certain things that are meant to grow wealth, and there are certain things that are meant to preserve wealth. And most people are trying to preserve wealth before they even have wealth. So a 401k is going to get you 4% a year, which if you have like a few grand, like that's not going to do much for your life. Even if you keep doing that forever until you're 65, now you got 10 years to live, and maybe you have a couple $100,000, which will be gone in a few years again. So the irony is that most retirement plans don't even lead you to retirement. What gets you to retirement is taking big risks, and eventually one of them or two of them pay off. Okay, so that's how 401ks work. With index funds, yeah, you can get a 6 to 8% return a year after inflation, but once again, it's a wealth preservation tactic, not a wealth acceleration tactic. Crypto is different because I'm a crypto investor as well. But the way I would describe crypto investing is it's basically angel investing in tech companies. You're gambling on a lot of things and hoping one hits really big while the rest lose. So once again, not ideal for somebody with a few grand who's trying to, quickly build a portfolio in the market. That's more for somebody that has like 50 grand and they're like, hey, I don't really care what happens to this 50 grand because I'm making so much money doing whatever. Let me take a few gambles. With tech companies, if you want to invest as an angel investor, you have to be an accredited investor. Crypto has made it so you don't have to be an accredited investor to take those big swings. So hopefully that answers.
That breaks it down for sure. I want to go back to like working full-time or working corporate. Why do you think it's so hard for to start a business or to day trade while you're still working full-time?
Because, okay, so the reason this comes down to like why most people lose money trading over and over again, it's because to actually execute a trade, it doesn't take a lot of time. It takes 45 seconds. There's only 4 buttons to click on Robinhood. The stock you want to trade, the prediction you want to make, the date the trade expires, and how heavy you want to invest. 4 things. That takes 30, 45 seconds to do. The research, though, that the Wall Street guys are doing, they're always going to beat the average retail trader who's like working and like kind of watching the news and like kind of reading stuff and kind of having his chart set up and like doing technical analysis. It's the same reason Mark Cuban says, I won't invest in a part-time entrepreneur on Shark Tank. It's because they're not going to beat the guy that's going full-time. So that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, most people still aren't going to be able to just have the luxury of moving back home, giving up their apartment in San Francisco, spending 2 years figuring this out part-time while at work, and then going and trying to become full-time. So what I did was I took these Goldman guys that I had met and I was like, look, how much money do you guys make at Goldman trading? And they were like, oh, we're on salary of, 200, 300, 400K, whatever. I'm like, okay, do you like, wearing a suit and going in every day and working, 80 hours a week, whatever, and trying to climb the ladder? They're like, no, not really. I'm like, would you make more money if you trade on your own? They're like, yeah. I'm like, would you make more money if you trade on your own and consult for others? And I was like, they were like, yeah, but we don't know the internet world. Da, da, da. I'm like, I know the internet world. We became partners. And that's when I realized, I'm like, the hard part is the system, is creating the system that actually makes sense for the corporate professional that can literally just copy trade, that can look at my portfolio, look at my trades and say, you know what, we're going to enter those same trades because we've done our due diligence and we've looked at the trades that I'm entering and exiting for 6, 12, 18, 24 months, and they have confidence that they want to follow me. So that system makes it easy for corporate professionals as well. My guys are doing all the hard work glued to the screen every single day.
Makes a lot of sense. Just going back to my own personal experience, when I was building my business, first starting out, it took a lot of time. And I was doing these swing trades at that time, a little bit day trading and swing trading, but I just wasn't doing the research at that point. I didn't have the time. I wasn't glued to the screen. I started losing money at that point. So it's kind of more, what you do is more of a done for you system. It's just a plug and play, and you're basically just copying these trades that are set up, and people are doing the actual trades themselves, executing the trades, but you're literally just going on there, looking at whatever you have for that day or whatever that week, and then just copying that trade, boom, 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 done.
And we tell you when to buy and sell too. So the question that's probably going through people's mind is, Kam, if you're so good at trading, why help other people trade? And I love this question because the truth is I can say, yes, I want to help people, which I do, because I know a lot of or even back then, I knew a lot of corporate people that wanted to either have a real passive or semi-passive cash flow, or also were just kind of sick of their careers and like wanted to do something else. But the real reason is that it'll take me 2 weeks to make 20 grand on a swing trade, but I can also make 20 grand in a day signing up 2 clients for my program. And then they'll make 20 grand in 2 weeks, which is 2x what they paid me. And now they're happy. And now they have 6 more months on their contract with me. Meaning business is all about value exchange. So people think like, oh, the course guys or the coaches are like all fraud or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of fraud in everything. There's fraud car salesmen. There's fraud real estate guys. There's fraud everything. If I can charge a fee and then make you 3 to 5x that, what you paid me in 6 months, you're going to be happy. So that's why I do what I do. I have 2 streams of income that actually have nothing to do with each other. When I say nothing to do with each other, what do I mean? I mean, me trading has nothing to do with me telling people what to do trading. They're separate. Yes, they're doing my same trades, but the business models are entirely separate. So if Amazon goes down one day, doesn't matter. I can still sign up a client and tell him, do the same Amazon trade. We're predicting Amazon's going to go down. He's going to be happy. And I'm going to win over here trading.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how are you guys? Are you showing the exit at the beginning, or are you just monitoring them and then sending out a notification like, hey, like exiting today type of thing?
So we have a live stream. So basically we have a Discord server, which basically has like Zoom, Google Meet, however you want to think of it, in there. And people can literally listen to us and watch us. We're on our screens and we're entering and exiting trades. So they can just have it in the background in their AirPod, at the gym, whatever it is. And as soon as they hear us talk and say, hey, we're about to enter, here's how many contracts we're doing. Contracts means how heavy you want to invest. They'll just do it from their phone as well. So they can literally follow along, buy and sell.
So this is like very much hand-holding, would you say? Okay. Kind of leading them.
It's the closest thing to done for you without me actually managing your capital.
Right. So because they're actually executing the trades, their own Robinhood account or wherever they're doing that. Let's break down for our listeners, let's break down what options trading is, because not everybody understands that.
People that know what stocks are, you're buying shares of a company. So you're buying shares of Tesla or Nvidia, for example. Why do people buy shares of Tesla or Nvidia? Well, they believe it's going to go up. Why? Because logically they're like, well, Tesla's a good company. Elon Musk is smart. Nvidia is a good company. AI is good. It's going to go up in 5 to 10 years. Options is just a more strategic way of making investments in the stock market. So what you're doing is making predictions. You're saying, instead of saying, I know it's going to go up, so let me buy a bunch of stock, you're saying, I know it's going to go up to this price by this date. And because that's more strategic of a prediction, the market rewards you at a higher rate. So I'll give you an example of a trade we did. This was back in like April. I always use this example, but like instead of saying, I'm just going to buy $10,000 worth of Nvidia stock, then from April 15th, when we entered that, to May 15th, 1 month later, we would have made $1,200 on however much Nvidia went up. But instead, we did Nvidia $300 call, expiration date May 15th, which means we're predicting Nvidia is going to go to $300 a share by May 15th at the latest. And because the stock went up, that prediction, we got rewarded for that, and we made 400% on that bet, which caused us to make about 30 grand in profit from that 10 grand.
Right. Options is almost a way of leveraging, because you're not actually buying the whole stock. You're just buying the right, which is a fraction. You pay a fraction of your actual cash up front. So you're able to leverage that to get a lot more meat on the trade.
So I want to go back for a second. You said this whole process takes about 45 seconds. What does that look like in real life on the back end?
So on Robinhood, there's 4 things you need to do. You're going to search for the stock that you want, which we will tell you. So Tesla. I'm going to click on Tesla. And down here, it's going to say trade. We're going to say trade, and we're going to say trade options. Once we say trade options, you're going to see a bunch of dates pop up here. And that's your expiration date, meaning this prediction that we're going to make needs to come true by this date at the latest. So let's say we just do February 18th coming up. Now we have two things to do up here, call or put. Call means we're predicting the stock's going to go up to a certain price by that date. Put means we're predicting it's going to go down. So this is where people don't understand. They're like, oh, what if the market's bad? Well, we can predict if the market's bad. We can predict if Amazon's going to go down by a certain date. So that's the power of options. So then I can say what prediction I want to make, and I can say $425 call, for example. I can click on it, and then I can say buy. And the next step after that would be how many contracts I want to buy, which basically means how heavy do I actually want to invest? I could buy 5 contracts, and each trade will come with a different price. So like, just depending on what's going on in the market, each trade is going to come with a different price. And based on your budget, we will also guide you on how much to invest based on what you have and what your risk tolerance is.
Okay. As someone who knows nothing about stock options, that was helpful to kind of just understand. So say me coming in, like I can be a beginner and work with you and figure out how to.
Do you have to be a level 2 trader to be able to trade options on Robinhood?
And what that comes down to is just when you get on your first onboarding call with us, we help you set up your account. You just have to answer certain questions correctly. So Robinhood says, okay, this person's competent. Whether they are or they're not, we'll tell you how to answer the questions, which is basically like, how much experience do you have trading options? 5 years. Well, yeah, because I have 5 years of experience, so it's fine. And then they'll give you the permission to do that.
Yeah, I was doing Thinkorswim back in the day, and I had to take the test. I'd watch some YouTube videos because I didn't understand options. I had to understand it so I could answer the questions properly. But I do remember having to get the level 2 trader. What's a recommended amount of money that you recommend somebody starting with, like when they're getting into this? Do they need $100,000 to start doing this?
Realistically, 5 to 10K is a really good account size to be able to get into a lot of trades quickly and see returns quickly. So like I have a client, he's a software engineer at Capital One. He can only swing trade because he's super busy. We turned his 5K into 40 from May to June, July, August, September, like 4 months. So yeah, really good returns. They are fast. I don't like when people say get rich quick, but this is get rich quicker than the index fund, 401k. Crypto, you can get rich quick, but it's really a gamble because you got to understand with crypto, and I'm somebody who invests a lot in crypto. I've made 7 figures in crypto from my brother's project on the Solana exchange and then just investing in Bitcoin early. But like, that's a gamble. We know that's a gamble. So like, is it skill or is it getting lucky or is it reading? It's like, it's all of it. But for people that have 5 to 10K, you don't want to do crypto. You want to start doing something where you can accelerate wealth quickly, and then you can start to diversify, gamble a little bit if you want.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you another question. I don't know if you have anybody that does this, but we do a lot of 401k investing. We have a solo 401k, which is like a self-directed IRA. Can we do this inside of our solo 401k?
I think so.
Yeah. Because we're allowed to trade options. So it should be something that's pretty easy to set up. But I like the idea of not having to pay attention so much because that's where I was falling short on that.
Yeah, it's really copy paste. Like, I would love that.
Yeah, so anybody that has a 401k, that's not a regular 401k, but a solo 401k, because you can't do this in like your Fidelity account. But if you have a solo 401k or a self-directed IRA where you control the investments, this is something that you should be able to set up and do. You can talk to your company that handles that, but this is something you should be able to do in your self-directed account. So you describe your system as copy and paste. Why does that work for busy professionals when others fail at it?
Others fail because they're trying to once again be full-time traders too fast. If you're trying to day trade and have a full-time busy job and excel at that job, you're gonna like go into a meeting for a couple hours and lose money. It's just the way it's gonna work. I could have never done it that way. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I day trade before work, but then I have to go into work and then I'll lose money. One of my clients actually called and he said, Cam, right before I joined your program, I lost a lot of money on this trade because I went into work during the trade because I got called in and I had to go in the office. And that's why we tell you, like, if you don't have the day to trade, that's why it's called day trading, do not enter trades that day on the day trading side. We do day trade as well, but the majority of our trades are swing trades because we know realistically most people are not trying to be full-time traders. They just want to make an extra, 5, 7K a month while keeping their jobs and actually having more money to enjoy their lives with.
So just trying to figure out the concept of how this works. So if somebody is a busy professional, they go to work from 8 to 5, let's say there's a trade that they enter before they go to work, you're like, hey, this is the trade we're doing. And then, 3 weeks later, whatever, the day that you're going to exit, if they're in a meeting during the day, how do they know? Is it an exit? Is it a right now exit? Is it same day exit? Or how are they getting notified that they need to exit that trade to?
Yeah. So as long as you have the Discord app on your phone, that's where we do everything. and you're going to get an alert just like a text. It's not that time sensitive. And we're also not like selling everything immediately. We call it taking profit, like basically our take profit threshold. So like, hey, it's at 20% gain now. Feel free to sell some of your contracts if you have multiple contracts, and we'll guide you on that, obviously. But if you're in a meeting for a couple hours and we tell you to sell 3 weeks later, it's not like it just randomly goes up one day. It's like it's been going up, and like there's time where you can just look and be like, oh, okay, I'm like a little late, but I'm still up. Like it's not as sensitive as a day trade.
Okay, yes, it's not somebody's that got just stacked with meetings all day and they don't see this till 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they didn't just lose a bunch of money.
No,
it's not
you
like
can even wait a day
Yeah.
a lot of times. Like,
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
When you're making these strategic predictions, how do you do that without gambling?
well, it's only gambling if you don't know what you're doing. Right.
True.
So like if I went to the casino and like there's really expert casino people, whatever you want to call it, those types of gamblers, card games, blackjack, I don't know these games, right? But I know people go and they're not just degenerate gamblers. I know there's people in Vegas that are really whatever high rollers you want to call them. They know what they're doing. So yeah, the term is gambling, but it's really only gambling if you don't know what you're doing. With crypto, the reality is most people don't know what they're doing ever because it's an ecosystem that has nothing to do with the real world. It's just, this is an ecosystem that we've decided makes sense. Okay, it has some value. Let's put our money into these projects that ultimately might not do anything for the world, as opposed to like stocks like Nvidia or Tesla, which actually do something in today's world, which is why trading is a lot more predictable. So it's only gambling if it's like unpredictable and you're uneducated on the subject. That's what I feel.
So kind of on the gambling, or not on the gambling, but on the losses. Like I'm sure you don't win every time, right? There's going to be losses, but what kind of ratio do you see for wins to losses that makes this a viable trading option?
Yeah. So one of the benefits of trading options is that you don't lose until the contract expires, right? So that's why when I talk about expiration dates, you're basically like a trade can go down 20% into the red, and we'll actually tell you to load up because we have faith in our technical analysis. So an example would be like, Bitcoin is down right now. A lot of uneducated panic investors are selling. A lot of smart people like myself are buying more because we know it's a predictable cycle. We know the next peak is going to be higher if we look at the past. So same thing with options. We can go down 20% and then we can buy more and then just wait it out and then we'll make more at the end of it all. Now, there are obviously trades where we have been wrong and lost, or something happens in the news and we lose. When we lose, though, we don't lose our entire investment because we have good risk management. So what I mean is, let's say you just put $1,000 into a trade and it drops $200. And let's say we see something in the news where we're like, you know what? I think we should get out of this and move on. We'll lose 20%. We'll take that $200 loss and then move on to the next trade. So you're never just going to like put 1,000 into a trade and just lose it all because the market doesn't even move that fast for that to happen. We've had about 2 or 3 losses in September that I can think of. That actually expired and like the trade was done. There was no way of recovering. And we still got out, 20% max loss.
And 2 or 3 losses, and how many wins with that during that time?
30 plus.
Yeah, so it's a good ratio.
Even my portfolio right now, I'm up so I'm up 38K year to date in 2026. So you can see that that's true because I'm highlighting year to date and then the number is 38K. So like even with all this craziness in the market right now, Bitcoin crashing, once again, the power of options, number one, you can decide if the market is going up or down for the stock that you care about.
So let's say like if somebody has $10,000 they're starting with, how much are you advising them to put of their actual money into one single trade?
1/10 of their portfolio, because we're executing a lot of trades, even though it's swing trading and it's not buy and sell every single day. We are still getting into a lot of trades fast and waiting them out. So we want you to have like equal positioning sizing. Sometimes there are lower risk trades where we'll say, hey, this is pretty full conviction. Like this is going to go well. You can load up heavy here, or we're loading up heavy here. And then there's ones where we'll say these are higher risk. Manage your risk appropriately or only put 1/10 of your budget.
Okay, so someone that's got whatever amount that they're working with, they may have 8 to 10 active trades going during that time. And so that risk is really spread out. Makes sense. Got it. All right, so you're targeting a 50 to 100% returns over a few weeks or month or whatever on these trades. What do people misunderstand with numbers like that?
50 to 100% return. So I would say on the very low end of what we see is 20% return. Okay. So that means understand that the more you put into trades, the more you're going to make, which is why I say you need 5 to 10K, in my opinion, to make it worth your time. Even though it's copy paste, it's like, dude, if you only have a couple $100, making 20% on a couple $100 is not a lot of money. It's not going to, even for the time that you're spent on your phone, like it's not going to make you that happy. It's not going to really change your life. Yeah, it'll get you a Chipotle, but then like what's next, right? There's no point of that. So what people don't understand is you need money to play this game, but if you play it right, it's very easy to be rewarded if you have the right system and the right people on your team. I have the right people on my team. Like people asking me, they're like, oh, are your traders better than you? I'm like, yes, that's why I hired them. They taught me everything I know, right? So I've known them since 2020 now. I've worked with different traders before that, but I kept networking until I found the ones where I was like, okay, they have the same vision as me for the business. They have the trading strategy that makes sense to me, and it all makes sense to work together. So yeah.
What's the biggest risk mistake you see corporate professionals making when they first start trading?
Yeah, overleveraging for sure. And then once again, the wrong trading strategy and trying to be a full-time trader. I'll keep repeating that because it's so clear in my head where I'm like, I saw people trying to day trade and like they run into a meeting and then they lose money. And I'm like, dude, like that's not going to work for me. I'm glad I never went down that path too fast. Let's say you have 10K. Don't put 5K in one trade. I've even had clients unfortunately mistakenly do that just because like they made a bunch of money and then they like wanted to gamble harder. And then like something happened in the market and like we just happened to lose. And then they were like, this one trade crushed me. It's like, bro, no trade should ever crush you. Like no trade should ever crush you. Why did you lose more than 20%? You also didn't sell on time, right? So there's just like, you still need to pay attention. Don't get me wrong. You're still managing your own capital. This is the best system that I can create for somebody because realistically, a hedge fund isn't going to take their money. A hedge fund isn't going to take somebody's 5 to 10K or 15K or 20K. They don't care because they can only charge a 20% performance fee. So people always ask me, Cam, why don't you have a fund? It's like, well, because the people that I can actually help don't have enough money for my performance fee to even make me enough money for it to be worth it. So I just charge a one-time consulting fee, come on board, you can follow along, and then you'll make more money than what you pay me.
People always hear that 99% of traders fail. Who fails and who succeeds?
I think people fail because they copy random people with no resume, right? So like I always tell people like, hey, before you get on a call with me, do your due diligence on me and my team. Here are my traders. Here's where they worked. Okay. Here's a video of me scrolling through the trades in my Robinhood account and the trades that my clients have copied in our server for 6 months. If you come to the call and have not watched those, I won't even take the call. The reason why is because you have not evaluated this seriously. So people need to do their due diligence and hire a team of traders that actually worked on Wall Street if they want to have Wall Street level results.
So is this better than real estate or other investments or just different, would you say?
I think it's different in the context of wealth preservation versus acceleration. For example, even when I talked to Rich, right, he was like, hey, you should put 150, 250K in my fund. I'll give you 7% year after year. I'm like, 7% is not very exciting to me based on my returns, right? But if you're like a guy who has a really busy job, or maybe he's a business owner, he's stacked a bunch of money, and he just doesn't know about my system where you can copy and paste or any really good trading system in the stock market, then real estate's good. Like 7% is good. But to me, it's not because I'm making minimum 20% per trade that only lasts 2 weeks. And then I'm really doing on average 50 to 100% return. 100% means you double your money. 50% means 1.5x. So it's like to do that consistently, people say you can never beat the market. Then why do hedge funds exist? What do you mean you can never beat the market? It's a stupid thing to say, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So is it better? I think it's better for people that want to accelerate wealth. When I get to a certain level where I'm like sitting on so much cash, it no longer makes sense to even like to be honest, I don't know if I'll ever leave this because now that I think about it, I'm like, the returns are just too good.
Yeah, no, I mean, like talking about hedge funds, Ray Dalio, like their hedge fund, like maybe gets 15% and that's solid, So like the returns that you're getting are very, very good.
But that's what's interesting is like Ray Dalio he's been doing it longer. So like he's been through more cycles than me. That's fair to say. So I understand 15%. I may be cocky for saying this. We might be the first to win.
Do you think it's because of the cycle you're in, or do you see this like it doesn't really matter because you're doing options where it can can go up, down? Like, do you see this more like a recession-proof type strategy where it doesn't really matter?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even when things are bad, like we're doing well. Like we'll take losses. I think we've had a total of, even in the last 12 months, like 8 total losses. So I'm like, but I think the secret, man, is that once again, traders with a resume, but 2, yeah, there's a lot of traders out there that have traded on Wall Street, sure. But I built a company where people are doing their role, meaning a lot of these trading influencers are also trading. They're making content, they're trading, they're taking client calls, they're doing coaching. Okay, well, you're going to lose to my trader who's glued. He's building software that helps him trade better. Everything he does is trading. He's up 5 days a week. This is what he does. Like, this is him. Like, he's not doing anything else. Then I have another guy who's his support, which is basically the liaison between clients and him. So he doesn't talk to clients. The second guy does. So he is just focused on executing. So we keep winning. So I think when you build a company that way, it's kind of hard to get beat by somebody who's like a one-man show trying to be like a trading guy and like, hoping it's always going to work out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's the brain of the operation? Is it this guy that's glued to the screen, or do you have AI that you're leveraging? Like, what's the brain of the operation that sets you apart from some of these other programs?
First of all, software can never beat manual trading. So like we have an algorithm too, but it has never consistently outperformed my traders trading by hand. There are algorithms that for people that they're like, oh, I have 100K and I really don't even want to log in and copy the trades. I just don't want to pay attention to it. I want my money to grow. Okay, cool. You can also go put money in Rich's real estate fund. You'll get similar results. Those are good results. Nobody's saying that's bad. But if you want exceptional results, it's finding a really good human. That's really what it is.
So let's go back to kind of when you started out. What told you that it was finally safe to walk away from your tech job and know that this was going to keep doing what it's doing?
I never really felt safe to walk away. That's the thing. So like comfortable, yes, but in the sense of I just knew that like I was fortunate enough to be able to move back home. But my parents thought I was crazy and like, no, why did you quit your job? Like you were the best performer there. Why did you do that? Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, I didn't feel good during that time, but you have to mentally rewire yourself to think about what you really want. Because when you die, you think you're going to care about what your parents said. And if you did that, like people marry people for their parents. Oh, this will be a good fit for the family. Man, when you die, you're going to regret that. Like, what do you want to do? That's what I wanted to do. I wanted location freedom, day-to-day flexibility, and time freedom. I got that through trading. There are other businesses that can't, like all my friends that are like my close friends that are very successful, they're still tied to one location. They cannot move. They can't travel as much as me. They can't just go to Europe for a month if they want to trade out there and run their business. They just have different businesses, and that's okay. But you have to decide what you want.
So what do your parents say now?
My dad said he was proud of me for the first time last Father's Day. Very happy for his PhD self to finally get it. And now he's built his own trading software that does not come anywhere close to what we're doing, which is also really cool to see. So I show him my results and he's like, wow, how does this happen? Persian voice. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Mom thinks it's all fake and AI and like doesn't believe it to be true because I didn't go to Stanford or something. So that's also cool to see.
The bank account doesn't prove otherwise to her. She
thinks it's not real. Like I'll show her it and I'll show her the Robinhood account. I'll show her even the consulting fees, the processor, everything. And she like, it's almost like she'll deny it. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Even just like looking at it, she can't.
Hey, money's green wherever it comes from and however it's displayed. It's green money is green.
But it keeps the drive. Like, it's like you need to, who said this quote? I think it was, I can't remember who said it, but it's a quote that I've thought about forever where it's like, are you being dragged or are you driven? And sometimes being driven comes from being dragged, right? So in the sense of like, maybe your drive doesn't come from a positive place. Maybe it comes from a negative place. And a lot of my drive is from a negative place, which keeps me going every day. And this is like a crazy thing to say, but like, I tell my mom, I'm like, do you know why I argue with you every day on, like, I don't want to argue with you every day, but you want to argue with me. Do you know why? It's because every day it makes me go harder. And it's just to show you that, like, I'm everything that I said I ever wanted to be. And I did it my way. And it was because I did the opposite of what everyone told me to do, because that's the only way you're going to have exceptional results, because most people are average and not exceptional. So if you want to be exceptional, you have to do what everyone else isn't doing.
Yeah, the hard way is the only way.
The hard way. And then that becomes easy life, right? Then life becomes easy. And then you have to find new things to challenge yourself on. So even when it comes to like me building discipline, I'm like, okay, the gym 5 days a week is pretty easy for me. But I really hate this zone 2 cardio incline walk that I have to do so I can like keep up with my girl on a hike. So that's my discipline now, right? Making money is not really like, it's not a discipline to me, it just comes. And that's not like trying to like rub it in anybody's face. It's to show you that if you have a good system, that's how money becomes. It just flows to you.
You want to make something hard, have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Add kids to
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
let's talk
See,
in a few
Try everything you're doing and then still working out, building business and do all that and trying to fit in the kids. That's next level. That's
You have 4, so I believe you.
we didn't think that through, but
Fair enough.
here we are.
Yeah.
Who would you say should not be doing this, even if they want financial freedom?
For the clients that I've had that have failed, it genuinely came down to IQ and like not really having stable income already. So I don't want to work with you if you think like this is going to get you out of the like bottom of the bottom of the bottom, unless you're willing to take a really big risk and accept the consequences. What I mean by that is if you're at the bottom, like you don't have anything going for you, your credit's wrecked, you can't really go lower. You can only file for bankruptcy. What I would do with you in that situation is I would leverage credit. We'll fix your credit if it needs fixing. I'll introduce you to my credit repair guys. They'll fix your credit, build it, go to the bank, we'll get you 10 to 20K in 0% interest capital, and we'll trade with it. Like, if you lose, you're right back to where you were, right? So that's how you have to look at risk and like risk analysis. The second thing is like, I know it's copy paste, it is, but do you actually want to be part of this world? Do you want to deal with the mental toll of seeing a trade go red and buying more and waiting till it's done? So if you don't have the stomach for it or the mind for it, that's okay. Work a 9 to 5. That's fine. That's less stressful. But you just have to trust something for 6 to 12 months to really decide if it's like the right thing for you.
I'm ready to like get our 401k. Our next house we sell, take some money and just put it towards us and see.
You'll crash it.
Yeah, no, I like the idea. Like I said, I was pretty involved in this at one point, and I like it. I enjoy it. I like the excitement of having a win and not losing, because it is kind of a gamble. There is a possibility you can lose, but when you win, it's just like
I was
it's a
right.
good feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it
Absolutely.
again.
I was going to say, I can see your excitement building as you're talking about this again. I
He
know
wants to trade again.
he does. He's ready.
I mean, we do a lot of real estate, and real estate's good. It's fun. You have the wins, but it's a slow game. You don't get that. Like I'm in sales. That's why I'm in sales, because closing the deal, getting a contract, like it's exciting, and then you're on to the next. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So I do like that about trading. I just don't like losing money.
You know what the craziest thing is? I think I'm onto something bigger than anyone I know in the internet consulting world, even the people that are making more than me in that. So what I mean is, I have gotten 4 early renewals in the past 30 days, meaning we do 6-month contracts with people. Hey, you work with us for 6 months. Here's what it costs. Okay. 1 month in, they make 2-3x their money back. 1.5 months sometimes. 2 months sometimes. As soon as I see them posting and trading success, I'm like, oh, this guy made 3x what he paid me. He's probably really happy. I'll message him on Discord and I'll be like, hey, congrats on winning. Congrats on tripling your money. Do you mind writing me a review? I'll give you a free reward. He's like, yep, writes a review. And then I'm like, thanks for the review. Your reward is an early renewal discount. Our current pricing is this, as you know. If you lock in another 6 months now, I'll extend your contract for 6 months at a discounted rate. And they just do it. So I've never heard anybody else in not just trading, any sort of coaching offer online where people are renewing early before their contract is over because they're so happy with the results.
Well, you have a proof of concept. They get that in the first couple months or a full 6 months of this. Why would they not renew?
At a
You know
discount,
what I mean?
there's no point.
Yeah.
I mean, just even pay it full price. Like, why would they not renew if you're making them this kind of money? It'd be stupid to not continue making the money, right?
And we're actually doing a free trial. We're trying it out, and I want to offer it to your listeners too. The free trial is great because you can do the free trial and pay full price after the free trial, or you can pay a discounted rate up front and lock in. So like you can pick which route you want to go. It doesn't matter to me because the free trial, I know you're going to be happy after. So I'm going to get my full price. I just have to wait. Or you can rip the Band-Aid off and do it now. How do you rip the Band-Aid off and do it now? Well, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. It's not about, and this is the way I've lived my life, or change the way I've lived my life to get the results I have in life, which is you are never going to be 100% confident in most big decisions that you're going to have to make in life. You're never going to be 100% confident. You're going to be 60 to 70% confident, and you just do it anyway. I give this example all the time. If I was single and I saw Halle Berry in a Starbucks, which would never happen ever, I'm really pissed. I'd walk all over LA today. Fuck. And you think I'm going to be 100% confident to walk up to Halle Berry? No, but I'm going to do it anyways. That's how you should live your life if you want to win.
So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's how life is. And most people don't shoot ever at anything.
That's probably people don't take action, or they get, analysis paralysis and try to overthink everything and don't ever take action. So, all right. So where do people get a hold of you? They want to learn more about your program.
Yeah. So you're going to put the free trial link in the Discord. I want to offer that so people can join. So guys, if you click on the Discord link, you can just join the trial. I'll message you and I'll get you onboarded. We'll go from there. And you can follow me on Instagram at Profit with Kam. So Profit with KAM.
So one thing we like to ask all of our guests, is there a book or podcast that really changed things for you?
Yeah. I like Laughing at Wall Street by Chris Camillo. Ironically, my traders are ex-Wall Street, so he is laughing at us. The reason I like the book, though, is because it shows you that you don't have to be a genius to get good results in something. You just need to be around the right people. Chris, ironically, has a free Discord, but if you go in there, you will see it's all research. So it's like he's not giving you trades. If you want to go do the research and the really hard work, go join the free Discord forever. That's why it's free, because it's not that much value. The reason we charge what we charge is because you're literally copying the trades of ex-Wall Street guys. That's very, very valuable to do.
All right. We really appreciate you coming on the show today. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio and meet you in flesh for once. Like, we're always on the Zoom calls and stuff. So it's nice to meet you in person.
Great to meet you guys as well. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, get out there and make it happen.
Thanks for listening. This has been a production of Rebuilding the Dream Studios.